Bonjour, it's Théo. In one of my last video, I made a tour of this apartment, a room tour. I say room tour because it's just one room, so it's kind of a room tour. And I showed you this little bookshelf that I have in my place. I have a bigger bookshelf in my parents' house, but I don't have the place for all the books. So I just brought with me some of my favorite books, especially some self-help books right here. And many of you ask me to talk about self-help, and as one of my biggest dreams is to be a life coach guru, let's talk today about some of my favorite self-help books, self-improvement, some of the books that changed my life. I started to have interest in self-help when I just turned 16. I discovered a channel in French called Autodisciple, self-discipline, where a man was filming like book review, and it was so philosophical, so interesting, and shot like with a webcam, bad lighting, and it was still life-changing. And I understood also in videos that the most important was what you were saying and not just the form, not just how you say it. So I read many books when I was in high school. It was maybe the biggest time when I read a lot of self-help books. It was in high school, and I remember some of them, I discovered them in high school, like some Seth Godin book about marketing. I discovered them in high school, and I think we're gonna start with this one. This one, Tribes by Seth Godin. It's life-changing. It's one of the best books I've read in my life. Still today, after years without reading this book, I still remember what he said. And it's a book about how to create a community, whether it's online or in real life, how to create a social circle, a community around your work, your ideas, whether you are an artist or a businessman or anything. You can create a community when you are an heretic. An heretic is someone that believes, that have a lot of faith in his work or in something, in a mission, but who doesn't follow the rules. So it's like a rebel, a pirate. And you have to be a rebel if you want to create something new, but you still have to trust a mission in your life. And this book explain you how to do it, and it's just an incredible book to read for anyone who is into social media, marketing, business, art, anything that requires to connect with people or to sell your work. This book is an unmissable. Oh, this one is a famous book, one of the best-selling books in self-help. The Subtle Art of Not Giving I don't know if I can say the F word on YouTube. I won't gonna say it. By Mark Manson. I didn't read it. I just started to read, but it was years ago. I'm talking about this book because I really like Mark Manson's YouTube channel. If you want to discover self-help without the big guy, big muscle, discipline and hard work and hustle, you can find really good self-help advice on Mark Manson's channel. Also, he's like 40 years old, so he's not like just a young man trying to sell a product to lost young boys in high school. He's really talking to anyone, and it can really help you to understand more about relationship, about marriage, about life. Mark Manson's YouTube channel is a really good self-help item. Okay, this one is one of my favorites of all time. The name in French is Tous Winners, Everybody's Winners. It's a weird name, it's a weird translation, but the name in English, I think it's called Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. This book is written by a journalist, Malcolm Gladwell. He's talking about how to succeed, like if success was like a university field. He really made a lot of research about how can people get over the others, like how to get into like the top 1%. He talked about people who were living really old, like what changed in their city or in their life to live that long. He talked also about people like the Beatles who went extremely successful and how they did it. He also like theorized the 10,000 hours theory that says that you have to work for 10,000 hours to be excellent, and that it's always like that. Like if you work 10,000 hours on something, you can't be something else than excellent. Like you will always be excellent. And it's such a great book because it's really dense. You have so many examples, so many theories inside, and it's a book that everybody should read to understand how success works, that it's not just work, but it's not just luck, it's a mix of many things, it's more complex than you think, and it really helps you to have a wider awareness about work and to also understand that you have to create the environment around you to be successful, and you have to work a lot also, 10,000 hours. This book, Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, it's an unmissable, especially if you are into entrepreneurship or art also, if you're an artist, it's a really good one. This one also, I remember reading it when I was in high school for the last year, for the exam. I was reading the autobiography of the founder of Nike, Phil Knight. In French, it's called L'Art de la Victoire, The Art of Victory, which is a good name, but in English, it's like Shoe Dog. I don't remember if I finished it, I'm not sure, but I was reading like a big part of this book when I was in high school, and it was one of my best read. Like it's a big autobiography, but you can read it so easily because it's written on the first person, like he's talking to you like he was talking to a diary. You really follow the creation of Nike day after day, month after month, years after years, and you understand that creating a big successful company as Nike, or as we say in French, Nike, it takes time, and it takes a lot of time. Like at the beginning, for 5 years, he was still working in the university doing some accountant classes. He had like 1 or 2 employees who was his friend in university, in college, and it was like just a small shop. It was not even named Nike, but Blue Ribbon, it was the other name. This is so crazy because you always heard about the overnight success, but there is no overnight success. People work for years and years before succeeding. So if you are into business and also into art or into anything that requires to take a lot of time to succeed and also to get paid, if you have like a big passion you want to pursue, this book is a good inspiration. These 2 little books also are unmissables. All the books I'm showing you are unmissables, but these ones created like passion for a lot of people. It's a collection of 2 books made by Austin Kleon, who is like an artist, cartoonist, writer. You can see that the books have a lot of drawings and big titles. He loved to have like really readable books. It's easy to read. Still like an artist and show your work. And both of these books are really important, especially in the internet life, because I know many people who started to make videos on internet or to make blogs, articles when they have read these books. It's about how to be an artist and how to be an artist in the 21st century. It explains that you can't just work on your things like in a little cabin in your garden and wait for someone to discover your art. You have to show your work and you have to get inspired by everyone, and you don't have to protect your ideas all the time. Still like an artist is about inspiration and creativity, and show your work. Maybe this one is even better than the first. It's even more important. Show your work is about how to succeed by showing your work. And I think this is the most important, like create social media, create things online, connect with people to show what you do, get some feedback all the time, create every day. This is how you succeed in an artistic life. And these books, if you are an artist, it's so important to read them, and it's really easy to read. You can buy them today and read it in an afternoon. It's crazy how it can change your life. This one is about self-help, but also about psychology. It's by Robert Cialdini. It's a really famous book. In France, it's called Influence and Manipulation, but I think it's called Persuasion in English. I'm not sure. I'm gonna put the cover right here. It's like a classic for the human psychology. It will give you all the tools to not get cheated on, you know, in business or in life in general, to not get fooled, because many people have really good ways to take advantage of you. And this book is showing you how to not get fooled by people. It's really interesting. It's a dense book. It's like a research book. But even when I was like 17, it was just such a pleasure to read it. So I really encourage you to read it, even if you're not a big reader, because each page will kind of change your life. Like you discover some things that you couldn't imagine about human psychology, and you also take these tools to use them for good things. Like when you know how to persuade, how to talk to people, and how to share an idea, you can also create really great things. And if you want to be a leader in any field, this book is so important to know. I have also other classics like Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, but this one, it's been a while, I haven't read it, and I remember it was okay, but it was not really practical. It's difficult to put it in practice. This one is also an unmissable, How to Make Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. The title is a bit weird, and even the cover in French looks like you don't have friends and you want to meet friends. It's not really about that. Don't be scared about buying this book, because this book is a really old one, like it's from the beginning of the 20th century, and it gives you all the tools to network with people for work, but also for personal life, like how to have good friends also, like how to be a good person for others, to be a good person like sincerely. Some really little tips that he gives is to remember the name of people, or to listen to people first and to not talk that much in conversation, and it will make for other people the best conversation possible, because many people just want to be heard. How to be a person that people can trust. And I think that's the most important in life. I think we have seen my main favorites. This one, I can also talk about this one. It's also by Seth Godin, who wrote Tribes. I don't remember the name in English. I think it's Linchpin. It's one of the first book that I've read about self-help or about marketing or business. It's like a mix. It's more about self-help than marketing, even if Seth Godin is a marketing expert. It's about how to be unforgettable, how to be unique. As we say, indispensable in France. It can be in work, it can be in life. And it explains that many of the work that you learn in school, it's just to be like someone else. It's to be average, you know, it's to be in the middle of the population, and everyone can change you. Like, you can get fired because what you do is not something that is unique to you. And that's a big problem in our generations. And he explained that. And he gives you all the tools to be someone that is unique and that people can trust for who he is, and someone that people will hire or work with because you are unique. It changed my life, this book. I think it's really important. It's been years I haven't read it, but I still remember everything. I understood that the society was trying to put you in the average world, you know. And to be unique, you have to be really, truly yourself. And this book explains you how to do it. It's just an unmissable, and nobody is talking about this book, but it really changed my life, so I recommend you to try this book. I think I finished with some of the best self-help. I should also show you the books in my parents' house. I could make another video about that. If you like it, tell me in the comments. I need to read the 4-Hour Workweek that is here. It's in my list. I have also a lot of books about cinema because I made studies in cinema in college. The best one was this one, Save the Cat by Blake Snyder. It changed my life. I read it in English. It's a screenwriting book, so it's really about writing movies. It's made by a guy who was selling screenplays and made tons of money with screenplays. And he explains you how to do it, how to write movies that can be sold, and how to make a living out of your passion without the stress of the passion. He really talks about structure, writing, storytelling, and it's an unmissable if you are writing stories. It can be for movies, it can be for books, it can be for anything. Save the Cat gives you all the tools about the structure to write a good script, but also the mistakes that you can make when you are an artist and when you want to put everything in just one story. He's talking about it in this book, and it's my favorite book because I read it when I was in high school. I took years to finish it because it was in English and I was not that good in English at that time, but it just changed my life, and still today this book is so accurate, it's so interesting. If you want to write stories of any kind, this is the best storytelling book you will ever buy. And I'm gonna finish with another writing book by Stephen King. This is his autobiography / writing lesson or class. It's an unmissable book for any writer, any artist, because for the first part of the book, it's like an autobiography of Stephen King. And he's telling you about how much time he spent writing before being successful, and it was just part of his daily life. He was just writing all the time, and then he tried to make some contest about writing for little novels. Then he sold some scripts and he published his first book, and it grew like that. His success grew little by little, step by step. And it's so inspiring to see that it's not an overnight success, and that if you're struggling right now, it's maybe because you're just early in the process. And the second part of the book is giving all the writing advice that he can, and it's just everything you need if you want to write a book or a story of any kind. It's an unmissable if you want to write stories, because it will show you that writing is also like a real practical work, and you have to put your hands in your story and to delete anything that is not really accurate to your story, and to not sacralize your story. It's really important when you're an artist to not sacralize your work, because you will just get slowed down. If you try to be perfect, if you try to do the perfect stuff, you can't do anything in life. And this book will also show you how to do real work. This one is an unmissable, but as all the books I showed you in this video, if you want other book review, tell me if you like this video in the comments. Show me, like, give me your favorite self-help books, the books that change your life. I'm sure it can help many people in the comments, so share your favorite books right here, right below. And that's it for today. If you want to explore Paris and discover the French way of life, don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. I post every single day, so see you tomorrow.